Hi, everybody. We're back. So now we're looking at activity A in this next gizmo. In this gizmo in the next part. So I'm just refreshing my page here. Okay. First thing it says is to get the gizmo ready, set red at 100. And I just found out today that you can change it right over here in the box. I was using the slider. But you can do it either way. Doesn't make any difference. Now, remember that this is the background color we're changing, right? We're changing this. We're not changing the color of the organism, right? So an organism, so the introduction, an organism's traits or characteristics are controlled by genes. Genes are located on rod-like structures called chromosomes. Different versions of genes that code for the same trait are called alleles. In this gizmo, there are 3 genes on each chromosome. For each gene, there are 8 possible alleles: white, red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So this is an example of where multiple genes are affecting one thing. And in this case, it's the color of the organism. Okay. So when we did it in class, we looked at blue eyes, brown eyes. We looked at tall, short plants. We looked at just 2 different allele options. Okay. But as you get into biology next year, you're going to see that there are many, many characteristics that have multiple genes and multiple alleles. And skin color is one of those. Blood type is another. So there are many characteristics and traits that take more than 2 alleles to figure it out. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a look right up here for the moment, and then we're going to get started on the activity. I want you to take a look at this. So this is a pair of chromosomes, but remember, one came from mama, one came from daddy, because insects typically reproduce sexually, right? So you need DNA from both parents. And so we don't know which one came from which, just looking at this. But notice that they're the same size. They have the same number of genes on them. Now, don't let this mislead you, okay? Chromosomes have way more, at least in us, they have way more than 3 genes on a chromosome. But we're just trying to keep it simple here. So these are 3 different alleles. So this organism has a white allele, a green allele, a blue allele on this chromosome. And this organism has a green allele here, a white allele here, and another white allele here. Okay, so that's the chromosome. And the short parts are the genes, and the alleles are the numbers. Okay, and so remember that level of organization that we talk about many things, right? So let's go ahead and get to the meat of the activity here. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so the first thing that we have to do is we need to look at, where does variation in a population come from, right? Because if you look at this, there's no variation here. All of these organisms are the same. Okay, so they all have the same color. So you're going to follow the directions for the next couple of questions. 1 and 2, it's going to ask you to click on the organism. When you click on the organism, the genotype comes up. The letters, what do the letters stand for the alleles, and then what the phenotype is. Okay, so genotype, remember, is what does the chromosome say? What are the alleles? The phenotype, I tell my kids, remember, the PH stands for the physical attributes. What does it physically look like? Okay, and so you're going to go ahead and work on those next 2 questions, and then we will be back.